Bluff City Media presents the Two Buck Sports Show with your hosts, Rusty Buckets and Uncle Buck. Now, let's get to the show.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to your Monday edition of the Two Buck Sports Show. I am your co-host, Rusty Buckets, checking in live here Monday at 11 a.m. Central. But we're recording Sunday night because I do still have my training, and y'all are getting a taped episode. But I'm in the comments, Rusty. You should be paying attention to your training, but instead you're in the comments talking to these fine folks. Appreciate you being here, sir. And speaking of that, I got my guy one, Drew Gann, checking in here with me on this Sunday night. Thanks for being flexible and being here with me, Drew.
All right, a couple things off the bat. If I'm anything, I'm flexible. Look at me. Okay. Second, you gotta quit saying we're coming to you live, pre-recorded the night before. It's such an oxymoron.
Like the show drops live, and the show drops live Monday through Friday, and people can watch it. It's not that big of a deal.
I'm just saying, you can say welcome to 11 o'clock. You just can't say we're live. Anyways, that's semantics. That is semantics.
It's just an opportunity for you to hate on me, and you're going to take every single one of them you can get.
Hey, you're going to have the episode of your dreams today, okay? I'm starting early taking my shots, okay? Because Mississippi State got a big win this weekend, and you're just going to have a big head. So I'm taking the needle, and I'm poking.
You can't tell me nothing right now. You cannot tell me a single thing right now.
I know.
And I'm being cordial. I'm being calm. We're going to talk about that here in a few minutes, but we've got a few things to get to first because, as my colleague, for whatever reason, loves to point out, we're not live. We're recording this Sunday night, but every Monday, we do give you our best in beef from the week.
That's right, Rusty. It is the first show of the week. It is Monday as we are listening to this. And that means that we are not going to talk about sports. We are going to talk about us for just a second. We're best friends for over a decade. And we don't do a lot of talking over the weekend much anymore just because we're busy. We have lives. We have things that we want to do. And, we're not just glued to our phones all the time. But we do need to catch up. This is how this podcast even started. Just us catching up once or twice a week. So we use the first segment of our first show of the week to just check in. We boil it down to 2 points. It's our biggest beef of the weekend and the best thing that happened to us this weekend. But we're going to go in the opposite order. We're going to start with our best. So tell us who this segment is brought to us by, and then give me the best thing that happened to you this weekend.
Yes, so Best in Beef is brought to you, as always, by Donna's Italian Beef, 509 Constitution Drive in Iuka, Mississippi. The best sack lunch and hot breakfast on your way to Pickwick, 7 to 3, Monday through Friday, 7 to 11 on Saturdays. You can get your tenderloin biscuit, chocolate gravy and biscuit, or a slug burger at lunch. Go see Jim and the gang and tell them the Buck sent you, and they'll take good care of you. So, unfortunately, my best of the week is sports, and I hate to be that way, but
you just can't hold it for just.
We're gonna get we're gonna get there, but it's just it's not very often that I watch a team that I root for, being Mississippi State or the Grizzlies or the Cubs, whoever, and I stay up late for the game, and I'm rewarded for my efforts. And I stayed up late for this. And now I transitioned. I was watching on my iPad as I was getting ready to go to bed, and I was not watching on the TV is what I'm saying. Yes. It was on the iPad, and so
what you meaning?
Yeah, I'm still me, man. It is what it is. And I don't love staying up late. If you're fans of this show for a long time, you know that I typically go to bed. I try to go to bed by 9:30 if I can help it. And I don't love staying up late. But dadgummit if I didn't get rewarded this past Saturday night. So my best of the week is kind of fringe sports related, but it's staying up late and it actually being worth it.
Yeah, I mean, I stayed up late too, but I do like staying up late when it's college football time. That is I've got 4 kids. It's no secret to anybody at this point. I've got 2 kids under 3 okay. So the 1-year-old, piece of cake. He goes to bed at 7 o'clock. Don't have to worry about it. The 3-year-old, a little bit more challenging to get into bed. But just like the day is just so stimulating. And even if I want to watch football, if the kids are around, it's just like, I don't veg out. I'm not the husband that just says, hey, honey, the kid's screaming, go fix it, And so, like, the late games, the Pac-12 after dark, or the 6:30 kickoffs like Mississippi State had on Saturday night, like the second half of those games is when I'd sit there and I'd just stare. And so
uninterrupted watching football. And I get it. That's me in the mornings. Like, I like the early kicks because I'm a morning person, and I've usually done most of my day by 7 a.m. And so I like the early kicks, but it was nice to be rewarded.
Right. My best of the week. So, several things. I hung out with family a lot today, being Sunday. Also hung out with family a lot yesterday, being Saturday, watching the Ole Miss game. I watched the Mississippi State game with Cousin Kirk. Long-time listeners know Cousin Kirk. Had a good time hanging out with him last night at his mama's house as we watched the end of the Mississippi State game. But I'll camp out here. And so after church today, I had the opportunity. My mother has been on this venture for about 2 years now of being on the board of directors of a startup nonprofit. And they purchased or leased this old school that had been shut down, Glendale Elementary. Nobody else knows what that is. Rusty, you do. But they have been in the process of taking this old beat-down school, restoring it into a home for mothers with drug and alcohol addiction with kids, which is important because there's a lot of rehabs out there, but very rare are the ones that deal with kids. And so today, and this has been her just like mission for the last 2 years. It's all she's talked about, to the detriment of my father even. But she's got such a passion, such a calling for this. And today was their open house. They moved in their first parent and last week, and they had their big reveal, ribbon cutting, open house today, to where me and my family got to walk through and see everything, the culmination of all the hard work and prayers and fundraising and all that's been going on for the last 2 years. And it's not, I found it being the second time in my life, I think, that I've sat around and thought, like, I'm proud of my parents, of my mom. Like, I remember thinking that when my dad retired, like, that's a proud achievement. It was typically because when your parents, you're just working, they're proud of us. You don't sit around and you're proud of your parents very often.
That makes sense.
But like, I just had a large amount of pride for my mom today, and just the way that she was able to see this through and how passionate she is about it. It was great this time that she was on the other foot, because now I'm proud of my kids, and I see what she probably felt growing up, raising the most awesome son ever, and now I get to look up at her and just be like, here, she turned 60 in a couple weeks. God help her. She's going crazy. But she has seen this nonprofit all the way through to where it's starting, and to the point to where she's on the board, but she's so passionate and got a heart for this that she just wants to she wants to give up her board seat and just go to work. And it's inspiring, and I love it. And she was so excited. It was a nice moment.
Yeah, that's fun. It's cool when you get to see your parents be proud of a project too, because like you said, you don't think about that much. So good on Mama Vicky, and just tell her, look, 60 is not that bad. Mama Lee, Papa Rocky been there for a while, and they're fine. So it should be all right.
I think it's just saying you're 60, because we had the talk a couple weeks ago where Dad was like, you think of your grandparents as old, but you don't think of your parents as old.
Sure.
And like my parents now are the age my grandparents were when I was a kid. And I thought my grandparents were old, but I don't think my dad's old. And he's like, you think, I look in the mirror and think I'm 25, but I'm not, it's like, it's weird. So anyways, just, I'm proud of my mom. That's the crux of the weekend.
Love that. Well, what goes up must come down. My biggest beef of the week just being that False Fall is over, man. We've got like one more day where it's going to be kind of nice next week. And then by the end of next week, we're going to be back baking on low broil here in Memphis. Highs back 95, 97 once again. It was so nice while it lasted. We've now had, those of you keep it up at home and Memphis weather, we now have had 2 False Falls. We have one more before we actually get to then our legit cooler weather. So hang in there, Memphians. We're almost there, but not this week. It's going to be a blazing week coming up.
Yeah. Well, you ruined my day because I didn't even know that was the case.
Mm-hmm.
I did not even know that was coming.
Yeah, sadly.
Well, all right. Listen, my biggest beef of the week. Fantasy football's back. I love it. I'm in too many leagues. I've already having a hard time finding a league that I'm rooting for. It's impossible to watch a game and root for a player because if I'm playing that player in one league, I'm playing against him in another league. It's just this whole circle of, I don't know. I guess we'll just see what happens at the end. But my biggest beef is that we're in year 10 of the League of Avengers, a league in which I've prided myself on making every single manager pick a Marvel, DC, comic book themed league name or team name.
Yeah.
We have started the league, and I am no closer to picking a name than I was last year.
Yeah,
I am so stumped. I've softened the requirements.
Yeah. This is the first time that I did not go comic book. I went with my horse this year for winning the Kentucky Derby, and I got Jamar Chase. So I'm Chase in Sovereignty, and it felt weird not picking a comic name. I'm not going to lie, that was a hard one for me.
I laxed it last year and said, because I'd been hearing some kind of grumblings, and rightfully so. I mean, I'm feeling it too, about the 10 years of picking Marvel comic book team names. You just get pretty dry, And so I laxed it last year and said, hey, we did this Kentucky Derby thing. If you can work in something with your horse, great, do that. This year, I've just kind of let whatever go. And I can't even come up with anything. I am in a church league though, and
I like this one. Yeah,
did I tell you this one?
Well, you asked me my opinion. I voted on the one that you took.
I'm proud of this one. In my church league, my team name is X's and Osteen. So,
and if you know, you know.
after the Get Rich Preacher, Joel Osteen.
If you know, you know.
Well,
that's going to do it for our best in beef of the week. Appreciate y'all letting us waste a little bit of time before we dive in. We got some college football we're going to camp out on for the next 30 minutes or so. We got all week to talk college football and NFL football, Grizzlies. But today, we're going to recap some of the games over the weekend.
Grizzlies signed Olivier Maxence Prosper, I believe is how you pronounce it, to their final two-way spot. Omax was first-round pick last year, 2 years ago. If I'm not mistaken, he was waived and stretched by the Mavericks to make room for their PJ Washington extension. Biggest question I had around this is I'm not sure where it leaves Jemai Mashak.
On the hustle.
On the hustle, you think? Yeah.
What this is adding some length and some defensive help until Jaren comes back fully. I truly think he got PJ Hall on a 1-year contract, and it's not necessarily guaranteed because he's just a two-way. And so I think what you'll probably see happen is we've signed Omax, we've got Javon Small. Both those are locked up on 2-year two-ways. I think what will likely happen is once we're healthy in the front court again, I think that PJ Hall will probably go the way of the Colin Castletons and the Zion Pulliams of the world, and then we will bring up Jemai Mashak at that point.
Tune in to The Daily Grind with your host, Lute Hatmaker, every Monday through Friday at 7:30 a.m. live on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
We broke up a championship team, like a championship level team. Wow. There were a lot of spoon-fed narratives that were coming from the Grizzlies organization at the time to the media members of Memphis and ultimately to the city of Memphis when we was getting spoon-fed a bunch of hypnosis. In hindsight, that Rudy Gay trade was silly as hell, bro. We should not have traded that dude, bro. Yeah, you made it to the conference finals. Your team was good enough defensively and had, injuries happen to get you to the conference finals. You flat out didn't have enough points to beat those type of teams, bro. And Rudy Gay was a 20-point per game scorer.
Let me ask you this. Do you think that the way the Rudy Gay situation played out is dictating to you a little bit about how, the way we respond to Gigi Jackson right now?
Yeah, we want Gigi to be good. We want Jalen Wells to be good. We want Cedric Coward to be good. It's all because of Rudy, man. We've been subconsciously chasing Rudy Gay, bro, for 10 years. You know what I mean? For real.
Tune in to the Anthony Sain Show Monday through Fridays at 1 p.m. live on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel. Looking for an alternative to alcohol or conventional medicine? Check out Ounce of Hope, a Memphis-based dispensary with 2 local stores in the Sanderland Center and on South Cooper Street. You can get all the products you need in a location convenient to you. Each store offers an intentional shopping experience with dedicated bud tenders to answer all of your questions, from product selection and mushroom blends to our personal favorite, the Delta 9 seltzers. You gotta try the Peach Buzz. Try Ounce of Hope at either one of their 2 Memphis stores or at www.ounceofhope.com for convenient products shipped right to your door. Use the promo code Bluff City for 15% off any order, excluding sale items. Cannot be used in conjunction with other promotions or discounts. One use per customer.
Welcome back to the Two Buck Sports Show, and I have a hot take for you, Drew, before we get going. I think Rudy Gay might be the most overhyped player in Memphis Grizzlies history.
Yeah, listen, I didn't realize that was still in the news. Like, you could tell it's the offseason because we're rehashing the Rudy Gay trade.
Well, Tony Allen talked about it on the Out the Mud podcast, and that's why it came back up in everybody's forefront. But, like, the glazing we do for Rudy Gay after the fact is wild to me.
Listen,
like he was a shooting guard who couldn't shoot by the time he got moved on. And if you remember, he left Memphis. We went to the Western Conference Finals. He left Toronto. They won a title. He left San Antonio. They went to the Western Conference Finals as well. So
yeah, I just I don't feel like it's really my spot to comment. I was a casual at best back then. I don't have many core memories of the Rudy Gay days.
I do. Overrated. Good player. Overrated and what he actually did for Memphis. But this is a college football show this time of the year, Drew, and we had quite the weekend. Mississippi State notwithstanding, we'll update against the spread here in a minute, but I just want to recap some football with you, my guy, because there was some epic football this weekend, and we weren't even at Grind City Brewing, though we will be this coming Saturday. College football Saturdays are back this Saturday at Grind City Brewing. Going to be some massive games this weekend. I'm going to be there. Fingers crossed, I think Uncle Buck might be there with me. I hope that we can make that work because there's going to be some awesome games to talk about. We're shooting for a 5:30 p.m. start time this week to catch before the early games, so it'll be more recapping of the day and then talking about the upcoming late games. But make sure y'all join us. The weather's going to be a little bit nicer next weekend. College football Saturdays at Grind City Brewing.
Yeah, looking forward to that. I really think I'll be able to make it this time. Schedule came out today. Last pool play game's at 12:30, so I may miss a bracket game, but we're gonna work it out. Lots of logistics to work out with kids and all that.
Sure.
So, listen, I'm just excited to talk about college football. Week 2 was not as many headline games as usual. You know, there were some good ones. Plenty of stuff to talk about on a 30-minute segment here. We'll fill it up easy.
Oh, absolutely. We'll start with the upset of the day, as we thought Billy Napier's seat had cooled after the way last season kind of ended. And then the start of this season, DJ Lagway struggled in week 1, and it came back and bit him with South Florida, who might be the hottest team in the country, upsetting Boise State, upsetting Florida, who was way too high already, Drew, at preseason number 13. But the most impressive part is they go to Gainesville. And, Drew, I can remember a time when the Swamp was a scary place to play.
Oh, yeah.
And now you got South Florida coming in there and snatching your chain. And that game, really, Florida scored late to make it closer than what it actually was. But South Florida just out-physical them up and down the line of scrimmage all game long.
Yeah, South Florida is a team that I want to buy stock in. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Alex Golish, their coach, is one of those guys. He's this year's Kenny Dillingham, just high and watch. Like, you're talking about being able to motivate, really sell the underdog mentality, and then when you upset somebody, take the mic, cut a promo like a WWE Attitude Era wrestler. I mean, I love Alex Golish, and that was, listen, I put 2 SEC teams in the cat, or one other SEC team in with Florida. 2 teams that I think are just absolute frauds. They get called blue bloods and they're not. I just refuse. You can't take away history Like, you can't say, oh, Florida's history doesn't count. But if you look at Florida's history, they've had 2 generational head coaches that brought championships. They had Steve Spurrier, they had Urban Meyer, and they won their championships. Outside of those 2 coaches, they are remarkably average. They are South Carolina. And
That's fair.
Underachieved. Yeah. The other team I put in this category is the Auburn Tigers.
Absolutely.
They're fake blue bloods. They shouldn't be in the conversation. Auburn, Gene Chizik was a very bad football coach, but they landed Cam Newton and got a championship. And then they got lucky with the kick 6 year where they had the prayer Jordan Hare, and at the end of the season had the kick 6 and then got beaten in the national championship because it was a fluke that they were even there in the start. They were playing a safety at quarterback. Okay. Like, it's just Auburn and Florida are fake blue bloods. I love to see them get beat because every year they are ranked too high. This year it was Florida that was ranked too high. I'm a believer in Lagway, or I was, but Lagway and Austin Simmons and Ty Simpson and Arch Manning and Julian Say, all these guys are not. They have not paid their dues. They have not come up yet. They have not struggled enough to be put in the conversation that they were put in.
Yeah, agreed. And you almost feel bad for those guys because the media did it. But then you go watch him just play, and it's like you clearly don't watch enough tape. Like, Lagway had moments last year, but he wasn't the guy that they think he's going to be. He hasn't shown that to me. He was 23 of 33 for 222 yards, but, like, he just doesn't make great decisions. He's slow with his release, and the only thing that happens in Florida is it's getting hotter and hotter. And I'm not just talking about the weather, but Billy Napier's seat is on fire at this point. You don't get embarrassed at home like that by South Florida and then run the gauntlet of the schedule that they have ahead of them. Like, these are games you have to win to stockpile wins heading into the rest of your schedule, where you play 8 more ranked teams, including one of the hardest SEC schedule in the country.
I mean, their next 2 games is at LSU and at Miami.
And then they play Texas.
And then Texas at home. So, listen, is 0-5 is a very real, if not favorable.
So they beat Long Island. So, like, they have one win.
Okay, 1-4. I'm sorry.
1-4. 1-5. They could, like, realistically could be 1-5 heading into that Mississippi State game. Like, realistically.
Yeah, and I think we'll talk about it later. Mississippi State's no slouch. That is not a team that you can't prepare for.
Yeah, absolutely. Not like last year. But other games of note that Saturday, I guess, now that you're listening to it, Drew, you said you watched Iowa State, one of the biggest rivalry games in the country. Just farm country football is what that game typically ends up being.
It was beautiful, man. I enjoyed every minute of what it ended up being, 16-13. Just an absolute rock fight.
Absolutely.
And it didn't even feel like it lacked offensive football. It just, I don't know what it was. That rivalry, I'll put it this way. It's the first time I've watched an Iowa State game in its entirety. I will not miss another one. I won't. It was the Cyhawk trophy. You
get, like, beautiful running lanes and you get beautiful, like, pulls. The way they run the football is so much fun to watch.
And I really thought I was going to have him. Rocco Beck, big plays when it mattered. They had the Gronowski quarterback for Iowa. I mean, I couldn't have picked a better quarterback for Iowa because he's a little chunky, not very athletic, but you still can't tackle him. The arm is just not really there.
Do you know how many passing yards he had?
Probably 7.
83 passing yards. It was just like, that's what you get in farm football, man. They run the football well. They're going to have big O offensive linemen, and you're going to get those big O offensive linemen, especially from Iowa State, in space. And there's nothing more fun to watch than a big lineman who's athletic in space, mowing down safeties and corners. And you got that on Saturday.
I loved it. I picked Iowa because Iowa State never beats Iowa at home in Iowa City or in Ames.
In Ames,
And so I got it wrong, but I just got so much enjoyment out of watching that 1995 football.
That's it. Power out, baby. Just run the friggin' football is what it is. And speaking of run the football, Michigan used to love to run the football under Jim Harbaugh, but they could get nothing going against Oklahoma. I am joining the Oklahoma hype train that I will give you credit, have been on after watching what they did to Bryce Underwood and the Michigan offense. Like, they were playing with their food. This game, 24-13, it wasn't that close. Mateer is the real deal. If he can stay healthy and continue to develop, that kid has got superstar written all over him. They held Bryce Underwood to 9 for 24 passing and just dominated that game from start to finish.
Yeah, that game was – I didn't watch a lot of that game because it came on the same time as the Mississippi State-Arizona State game. But from what I saw, it was kind of what I expected. I think I may have expected a little bit more offense from Oklahoma, but Michigan State's got a good defense. I've been a fan of Oklahoma's defense. They had this weird stat that I thought was stupid. Like, why would you even put it up there? But they were saying that Brent Venables is like 21-5 against freshman quarterbacks. And I was like, well, he was the defensive coordinator at Clemson, and then the head coach at Oklahoma. Like, what did you expect? Like, how in the world did he lose 5? It's what
that's it. He didn't cut his teeth at Long Island or something. Like, came up
I don't really. That was a stupid stat, but I mean, it held true again. But I've been the guy that's been kind of telling everybody to pump the brakes on first year starters. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, any other stats that might be a little bit more relevant? So, listen, that was another just kind of 1996 football game. The score was anyways, defensive battle, kind of a rock fight. Mateer looked good again.
Had 270 yards passing, 21-34. They had 408 offensive yards. Oklahoma did. Hung on the ball for over 32 minutes. Just out physical, dominated Michigan at the point of attack. Like, it was clear. It's clear that Oklahoma is going to have one of the best defenses in the country when it's all said and done. And again, speaking of, that's not shocking considering who their head coach is.
Yeah, listen, it's yet to be determined, in my opinion, if Brent Venables is a good head football coach or not. I think a decision can be made that way this year based on you got your opportunity last season to fire your offensive coordinator and let your quarterback walk and pin all the blame on them. And this year you went and got the OC and quarterback combination from Washington State. It's worked out swimmingly so far. That was a really good test in week 1. Their schedule doesn't get any easier either, I don't believe. I think they've got don't they have one more big one coming up? Oklahoma. Well, no, they go to Temple. That's weird.
That's random. Why are you going to go to Philly?
And then Auburn at home. That'll be a fun one.
That'll be a fun one. Yeah. That'll be a fun one. Then they've got Texas on October 11th. October the 18th, they travel
it may
to.
Not even be an upset at that point.
At that point, it may not be. Yeah. They travel to Williams-Brice on October the 18th, and then they get Ole Miss at home before going to Neyland on November the 1st. So that's a stretch. They got Kent State, then Texas, South Carolina, Ole Miss, and Tennessee. If you come out of that at 3-2, 4-1 at best, you're talking playoffs. Absolutely. Absolutely. But it doesn't get easier. Then you're off, and then you finish at Alabama, Missouri, and LSU comes to town. And so that's a brutal schedule for Oklahoma.
You're at that point, though, you are talking playoffs.
Absolutely. If you're sitting 9-3 at the end of that, then my God.
You can talk about it.
Yeah.
I don't know how to predict it. You can talk about it.
Yeah. My God, you better be there. But, Drew, the reason we're both here, both of our teams escaped the weekend unscathed. Ole Miss had a bit more of a scare with Kentucky. I mean, State was down late. We had to score at the end.
State was in much dire straits.
If they were, but Kentucky kept it a lot closer than we both thought they were going to, because we both thought this was going to be a game that Lane Kiffin kind of flexed on and pulled out. But is Kentucky kind of figuring out the Lane Kiffin system?
Yeah, I mean, they've got Lane's number.
Yeah.
Listen, I think that Kentucky's the worst team in the SEC,
by
even
far.
After playing Ole Miss.
By far.
Listen, I had to watch virtually a whole football game of a team that plays in the SEC start Zach Calzada. And that dude is just disgusting.
He's so bad.
So bad. They brought in on the last drive of the football game,
when
they
he got
brought
hurt.
in a freshman. And I was like, I would much rather see Zach Calzada, the 29-year-old senior.
Yeah.
There's no chance I'd want to see a freshman that I don't know anything about. Zach Calzada was awful.
Yeah.
But listen, I talked myself. I even said it on the show on Friday when we were doing our picks. I put my red and blue glasses on. I scribbled out Kentucky, and I wrote down Ole Miss. I knew better. The last 3 times prior to Saturday's meeting with Ole Miss and Kentucky's last 3 games were the margin was combined 7 points. The last 2 games, it was within 3. Include like it was Ole Miss missed a field goal to tie it last year. Like I don't know what it is. I talked about it about how I liked that Ole Miss was having this test early. I left the game thankful that we got out of there alive. I didn't steal. Of course, last year I didn't fear we would lose this game either until it was over. That was the biggest stun because I was like, we'll come back. We didn't. I never thought Ole Miss was losing this game.
Yeah.
They made Austin Simmons look incredibly average, really bad. He had a really bad game. He was the guy I've never seen miss a throw. He's always hitting guys in stride. He's always putting them on the numbers. A lot like Nico last year. Like you can say Nico's got his flaws and whatnot. He was always leading his receiver to the right spot or putting it on the hands, on the numbers, wherever he needed to put it. Austin Simmons was a mess yesterday.
Yeah.
And I was glad to see it, honestly, because I do believe that Austin Simmons is a guy with all the tools, all the mental faculty that can be a really great college football quarterback. But this is not something that ever comes to somebody naturally. It is a skill that is honed. Winning, especially in the SEC, is not something that anybody does their first year. And I was pumping the brakes on Ole Miss fans saying, "Oh, this team's 10-2. I picked 9-3, but I said if I miss by a game, I'll take the under to 8-4." Listen, you've got to figure out how to win in this league, and I have all the confidence in the world in Austin Simmons, and I'm glad that we were able to face him this week, struggle really badly. The running game looks good. The receivers look good. The offensive line looks terrible.
Yeah.
Austin Simmons didn't look good. He'll bounce back.
Yeah, being able to lean on Kewan Lacey is huge because that kid has got he was good. 138 yards and 1 touchdown. Like he ran the ball really well.
Especially
he was able to get in
offensive
space.
line was awful.
That's what I was about to say. Like I watched that game while I was cooking, and it just felt like every time he got the ball, he was having to make his first cut in the backfield as soon as he got the ball because Kentucky got just incredible penetration, and that's going to be tough for Ole Miss going forward when the schedule gets harder. You're going to have to get that cleaned up before you start hitting the teeth of this schedule.
I do think that offensive line is continuity, and if there's nothing about college football landscape today that is that provides continuity other than playing games. So I think the offensive line gets better. I just wonder what the talent level is. They will get more in sync. They will quit missing open, defenders rushing in the quarterback's A gap, But this is where I land. So interesting stat. SEC road teams that lose the turnover margin by 2 or greater were 8-74 going into that game. 82 games, full NBA season. If you lost the turnover margin by 2 or greater, then you lost 74 out of the 82 times. Ole Miss won that game yesterday. Lost the turnover battle by 2, weathered the storm, and got out of there. And that's something that cannot be like. There's a lot of Ole Miss fans that are mad right now that you struggle with Kentucky again. I'm grateful. I want to see the bumps in the roads, and you came out with a win. That's something the Ole Miss team last year did not do.
Yeah, because it's going to get really real, really fast, and I'm sure Jared's in the comment popping off about Arkansas coming up this Saturday. We'll talk more about that on Wednesday as we preview the games coming up. I'm not impressed by Arkansas so far. It is what it is. Like Taylor Green's fine, but sorry, Jared.
Arkansas last year was a better football team than Kentucky last year. Ole Miss lost to Kentucky last year and beat Arkansas by 50.
Yeah,
Arkansas does not have a defense that has a pulse. I'm not.
No, you beat A&M, Alabama, A&M, and Arkansas State. You got Ole Miss and then Memphis. It's going to be ugly. Sorry, Jared. But you want to get these lumps out of the way early before the schedule gets hard, Drew. So you want to you want Austin Simmons learning in September so that he can play better in October and November.
Speaking of FanDuel, did you see Lane Kiffin's comments after the game?
Oh yeah.
So the line, we did the line at 10.5. Ole Miss would have never covered that line. They never led by more than 10, but they went up by 10. The line ended at 8.5. They went up by 10 with a minute to go or something like that. And they let Kentucky drive and kick a field goal to cover. They covered and hit the over with that field goal. And Lane Kiffin, in his post-game press conference, said, "Sorry for everybody who took the Rebels and the unders today." He always knows the
It's so
hot
funny.
issues.
I saw on Twitter people were like, "Check his bank account, check his FanDuel app." Like, it was really funny. So shout out Lane Kiffin for getting that in. But the Rebels get their lumps early. Speaking of getting their lumps, man.
But still got the dub.
Still got the dub. But speaking of getting their lumps, man, it has been a long, arduous road since December of 2022. The last win of
You
any
want me to
kind
put
of
a solo camera on here?
Yeah, I mean, you can.
Let's just take it over.
It's been a long, arduous road since December of 2022. Mike Leach, unfortunately and untimely, passing away on his couch in the wee hours of the morning right after Christmas, put this team in a downward spiral. Our last meaningful win was when he beat Ole Miss in the Egg Bowl right before his untimely passing before the bowl game. You have to go back to 2018 to find a time where we beat a highly ranked opponent, where we beat the Jimbo Fisher-led Texas A&M Aggies. This 2018 is 5 years ago. This team has been in a haze, sleepwalking through 2 straight seasons. Zach Arnett absolutely crashed every bit of momentum. I'm muting you. Zach Arnett had crashed. I told him not to interrupt me, but y'all know he can't not interrupt me, just like he can't not breathe. Good Lord. Zach Arnett drove whatever momentum Mike Leach had into the ground. After he had a 9-win season, Arnett took over a program that was on the upswing, said we're going to run an air raid offense, and then tried to run a power eye pro style with Kevin Marbay's offense. We'd had better luck running the baseball team out there 2 years ago in Arnett's 1 season at the helm. Jeff Lebby inherited a very bare cupboard, and last year going 2-10, 0-8 in SEC play was ugly. It was brutal. I hated it. Every freaking second of it. It was awful. But last night, Saturday night, was finally that moment where it feels like we're going to get out of that Mike Leach haze. And I'm not sitting here saying we're fixing to win 9, 10 ball games this year, because we're not. Our schedule is a mess. Like we're not going to win that many. But I think last night, Drew, it felt like I've seen that movie so many times, and I sent that in a text last night when they scored to go up 20-17. I sent the text and just said, this feels like the movie I've seen time and time again, where we're going to have a shot to win the game and they're going to miss a block or drop a pass or give up a sack or muff the snap or something's going to happen. And dadgummit, if Blake Shapen didn't stand in that pocket and throw an absolute dime to Brennan Thompson in stride for a 58-yard touchdown to win the friggin' game, I didn't know what to do with myself. I was like Ricky Bobby. I don't know what to do with my hands, because it felt like we had finally came out of that haze and found a way to win. Got some momentum heading into a brutal SEC schedule. And for all y'all that laughed at me and said 6-6 is never going to happen, there's a path to 6-6, because there's a reality that you're going to that Tennessee game 4-0. And it was because of the work of Blake Shapen and Jeff Lebby to get us that win on Saturday night in an electric atmosphere. And it started early in the week. The hype videos and the hype scenes and us wearing the All Blacks, it was on point all week. And we found a way to win. We dominated the first half, just beat them to sleep in the first half. It was 17-0, essentially heading to halftime. They get a field goal late to go in, 17-3, and they took all the momentum. And then the second half, they kicked our tail up and down the field, running the ball down our throat. But we found a way to freaking win that game in a way that Mississippi State never does. It's one of the best wins we've had in many, many seasons, Drew. And I'm still on cloud freaking out. You can't tell me nothing, man. Can't tell me nothing.
It was a big win. Listen, I thought after that first drive, I was like, oh, this is going to be different. This is going to be different. Mississippi State marched down the field, got a touchdown easy. Listen, Blake Shapen's the key to this offense. Jeff Lebby is a really good offensive coach. And last year, everything went south with you ended up starting the Van Buren kid because Shapen got hurt early in the season.
Right.
It was just a mess. It was a mess. And admittedly, I wasn't high on Shapen anyways because it wasn't there a loss earlier in that season anyways. Like, wasn't he the quarterback during the Toledo loss? Like, so
He was.
admittedly, I wasn't high on Shapen, and I feel like
Me
I was
neither.
being pretty fair.
Me neither.
But he was really good, and you look at all the – because he's a Browse guy. You know, Browse, you know, you don't really want to mention him in the same breath, but he's that coach where he's just got such a good system that if you have a quarterback with an arm that can process at all, like, you're going to have success. And they were really good in that first half. When they kicked the field goal at the end of the half, Arizona State drove down, kicked the field goal, cut it 17-3. I was sitting there with Cousin Kirk, and I was like, that's a bad way to end this dominant half, is to let them drive down the field.
For sure.
Clock.
It was deflating. It was deflating. It was.
When you're used to losing, and this is not a hater, when you're used to losing, you're very quick to be like, oh, here we go.
Here it goes.
And you feel that in the crowd. And when you've got such a home field advantage that Mississippi State had in that first half, if you lose that edge, that excitement quickly, you see what happened in that game. And Arizona State ended up scoring, what was it, 23 unanswered, or was it 20? What was the
17 unanswered. They scored 17 unanswered.
No, they scored 20 unanswered.
20 unanswered, yeah.
And listen, I'm not taking anything away from Mississippi State. I know you think I hate Mississippi State. I truly just like, I joke with you. I don't wish evil upon Mississippi State. They're my rival. I never want to lose to them, but I never root for State to go 0-12. You know, like, I don't think that's fun. I've got too many friends. Like, I was happy for Kirk sitting next to him being excited, and I was happy for you. Am I going to take some shots and say that the road to the Birmingham Bowl goes through Starkville? Yes. I
dropped a hail him up in State, and that's what he responds with in the group chat. And I was like, you know what? I ain't got time for this little short man tonight.
Yes.
I ain't got time for it.
Am I going to take if I think of something funny to say, I'm going to say it. I can't help myself.
Yeah.
But I don't hate it. Listen, Kenny Dillingham, what is the play call there? You're up by 4. You're up by 3. The worst case scenario is you make Mississippi State nickel and dime the rest of the clock and have a shot to tie it at the buzzer.
That's it.
But instead you go cover 0, no safety help.
And Drew,
and then the cornerback just gets juked out of his ankles at the line of scrimmage. And
so
listen, this is Blake Shapen could have made that throw. I could have made that throw. You could have made that throw.
And here's the thing about that play. Like, so Devon Booth had to pick up a blitzing linebacker that Mississippi State never does. There was a corner blitz who got tied up with one of our receivers. Like, all the things that usually goes wrong went well. And need I remind you, he ran cover 0 when our other 2 touchdowns were a 48-yard pass to Anthony Evans and a 47-yard pass to Brennan Thompson. So, like, we're not scoring from 5 yards out. We're scoring from long distance. And you're going to run cover 0 with 30 seconds to go? When I saw that lineup, I was like, oh, and like it was just beautifully drawn up by Jeff Levy and a boneheaded play by Kenny Dillingham.
It wasn't even a play that was designed to go deep.
No,
like
it was just
the dumbest malpractice. Like, I'm a Kenny Dillingham fan. I talked about how much I loved, just his antics and the guy that can talk smack. And take shots at the city in which he's playing, and not just the college, but the city in which he resides. But like, you've got to back it up. And when it mattered most, like, you're up by 3, and all you've got to do is just force a kick. It works.
You go to overtime.
Like I barbecue coaches for going prevent defense.
Yeah.
But that prevent defense prevents you to win. I believe that. It allows an easy field goal, but at least it's a field goal.
Yeah. Like, there's a happy middle ground between prevent and cover 0. Let's go cover 2, or at least cover 1. Have somebody playing center field. But there was nobody back there.
There's no one there to trip that fella.
No, and Blake Shapen throws an absolute dime that you and I could have hit that kid, like you said, but throws an absolute dime where he doesn't even check up stride, and Brennan Thompson just coasts into the end zone for his second touchdown of the night. And Drew, like, it was pandemonium after that. It's pandemonium. And it was a testament to resiliency, because Arizona State returned 16 starters from their playoff team last year. So they're a good football team. They run the ball extremely well, as we saw in the third and fourth quarter.
Good.
They had 2 running backs go over 100 yards yesterday, and they just dominated the line of scrimmage in the second half. But Mississippi State, they had the ball for almost 38 minutes to Mississippi State's 22. But we found a way to hang around long enough. And once again, had 2 defensive linemen that graded out above 80 in Pro Football Focus. Brendan Thompson was an 80. He was the SEC Player of the Week for Pro Football Focus. We just found a way to hang around long enough to win. And that's where Mississippi State's different. Our secondary is really good. They have an All-American in Jordan Tyson, who's just this big receiver. He finished the season last year going like 120, 140, and 170 before getting hurt. Sam Leavitt is a good quarterback, but our secondary is not the same secondary from last year. We hit the portal really, really hard, brought in some really good key players. Again, we're not going to go win 8 or 9 ball games, but the path to 6-6 got a little bit brighter with that win over Arizona State because you need that momentum. You got Alcorn State and Northern Illinois. Don't sleep on Northern Illinois. They beat Notre Dame last year. Heading into Tennessee, you go into that game 4-0. Like, crazier things have happened, but Tennessee is a better football team than us. I don't think that's going to be our upset. Yeah. But then you get squirrely at Kyle Field. We always punch above our weight against Texas A&M, and the road team in that rivalry dominates that series. And so after that, you're off and you got Florida. So there are kookier – they're like – again, pie in the sky, but you could have 5 wins before your bye week in October. I mean, you're at least going to have 4, but there's a path to being 5-1 and heading into a bye week before you travel to Florida, who is not quite the formidable foe that they were at the beginning of the year.
Yeah. Florida's going to get better, I think. They got better all year last year. They ended strong. But anyway, that's beside the point. Listen, you can remember that game for a lot of things as a fan. As somebody that's not a fan and just an entertainer of the game, because I thought it was a great football game. I was highly entertained, though. I never even thought about flipping it over to the Oklahoma-Michigan game, which was the marquee game. This was the game I was locked in on.
Yeah.
I'll never forgive Kenny Dillingham. Like, I'll just never understand, like, what's the goal here? Like, that's what I would ask him. Like, what's the goal? Is it to let them score as quickly as possible, and then you try to go score as quickly as possible, or play for overtime? Look, college football is just the worst overtime in sports, but I'd take my chances there. It
had to be oversight. It just had to have been oversight.
It was home field advantage. It was. Yeah. That's what it was. That's what
Sam Leavitt is going to hear cowbells in his sleep the rest of the year. It was louder than they anticipated. They were rattled in the first half, big time rattled. And they were not those little. It just shows those little dinky cowbells they were ringing in practice did not prepare them for what they were coming into. Man, that's a whole different animal.
Yeah,
that's a whole different animal.
Anyways, hats off to you. I said, I predicted 5-7. You predicted 6-6, and we both said that neither of those are possible if you don't beat Arizona State at home. So check.
You went and did it. You step 1. Yep. Now there's a lot of steps to get to 6-6 or even 5-7. But that's it. We tried. We tried to Mississippi State. Like there's a how Mississippi State was that dial that pops up on Twitter all the time. And at one point it was brother, let me tell you in that fourth quarter. And then it swung to not very when we won the game. But as we wrap up. Go ahead.
My favorite is the Ole Miss triangle. It's the start to believe, or get your hopes up, start to believe, get kicked in the nuts. Get your hopes up, start to believe, get kicked in the nuts.
I literally said that last night. I was like, I'm just so tired. Real quick, this text, I'm just so tired of Mississippi State football year in and year out. I get psyched for the season. I talk myself into a better record than people predict, and they get kicked right in the nuts by week 4. I literally said that last night.
You know the little gif of the Chinese man that just gets repeatedly hitting himself in the nuts?
That is a Mississippi sports fan for State and Ole Miss, 1,000%. We can at least commiserate on that. But speaking of commiserating, against the spread last week, one of us did well, and it wasn't Grok. That's for sure.
Hey, at least I'm smarter than AI.
Your boy was 6-2 on Saturday. Had a great day taking Mississippi State, Iowa State, Illinois, Missouri, Vandy, and the Fighting Dan Mullins to win in the nightcap. Your boy goes 6-2 to start the season off. It's all downhill from there because I'm excited about it. I'm bragging about it. It's not going to go well from here on out. But 6-2 to start the season.
The only one I'll kick myself over is the Ole Miss game, and it's because I wrote down Kentucky because I know, like, my head and my heart, it's two different things, you know. The song says "listen to your heart," you know, but that's not smart when you're talking about betting sports lines. Okay, never listen to your heart,
especially about teams that you care about. You never listen to your heart about the teams that you care about.
And I wouldn't change any of my other picks. Like that Illinois Duke game, if you look at the box score, it looks obnoxious, like a blowout. That game was close for a long time. It got away quick.
Late.
Hats off to Illinois. That was
your
really solid.
Your boy had a day. He was dealing for Illinois.
Listen, third-year quarterback, same coordinator, same head coach, same quarterback for third year. Like, I can't say it enough. Illinois, I wish I had their schedule up in front of me. That is Indiana. I know they play Ohio State, but if you tell me 2024 Indiana is Illinois this year, I buy it. I do.
So
they play. I know they play Ohio State at one point, but
so they've got Western Michigan before they play at Indiana, so they got a chance to knock off Indiana. USC, Purdue, then Ohio State is their last meaningful opponent. They're off Washington, Rutgers, off Maryland, Wisconsin, Northwestern. Like there is 11-1 is a real possibility.
So
10-2 at the worst.
I look at USC and Maryland as the other games there. USC's got off to a very hot start. I could be wrong about that. I'm having a hard time remembering what they did yesterday, but their offense metrics were off the chart after week 1.
They're 2-0. They beat Georgia Southern 59-20, so you really can't tell because they played Missouri State and Georgia Southern.
Yeah. Okay. So, but that regardless, that's the two toss-ups off the top of my head. Ohio State's going to be a loss.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I can see them being 2024 Indiana.
Yep. But that's going to do it for your Monday edition of the $2 Sports Show. Come back tomorrow as we give you a market update on some things that we learned over the weekend about certain teams, certain players, things that we learned. We start getting you ready as we look ahead towards next weekend on Wednesday. And tomorrow we'll talk a little professional football. As of this recording, the Bills and Ravens are playing, and Derrick Henry is having a King Henry type game. He has firmly put the crown on his head and is carrying one of my fantasy football teams by himself this week to what might be a victory.
Yeah, it's not in the Avengers League, I can tell you that. We'll update our Bluff City Media League. We need to do that on Tuesday.
We'll do that tomorrow as well. We'll do that tomorrow as well.
I've quite enjoyed recording this on Sunday night with Bills and Ravens right here in front of me because
it is nice.
I'm taking a look. Watching.
Well, that's going to do it for our show today. Thanks for hanging out, being here in the comments. We'll be back live tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central, right here on Bluff City Media's YouTube page. Go be a friend of somebody who needs a friend. And Drew, tell them why they're on new refunds.
That's right, because with the $2, you always get what you pay for. And we will see you tomorrow.
Thank you for listening to the $2 Sports Show. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Also, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. We'll see you back here next time.